The last time that I said anything about this was back in June. I made one video about it and I haven't said shit since. Specifically, I told y'all how I was starting a partial hospitalization program, a day hospital essentially, where I'm there during the day but I come home at night. And I started it because I felt as though I needed more support and more rehabilitation around my eating disorder. I was there for about a week and then got discharged. So let's talk about that. It's Julius here, back with another video for my Recovering Traumas series. If this is your first time joining with us, then welcome, of course. Remember to like if you find the video content helpful, comment if you have anything you want to say, and of course, subscribe to find out specifically when I upload new videos and updates for y'all to watch. So, yes, PHP, eating disorder, discharge. Where do I start first? I don't think it was any secret that when I started the program, like, yes, it's a voluntary program, and yes, I wanted to do it, and yes, I agreed to do it, but I also had a host of other emotions that left me feeling like, I don't want to do this shit sucks, fuck this, I'm out. So while I did feel like that, and every single day after leaving the program, I honestly was like, I'm never coming back to this, I'm not coming back to this, screw this, I ended up going back each day. Sort of, not really actually. It's complicated. Let me just give y'all a quick rundown of the timeline here. Friday, started the program. First day, all of it was about housekeeping items, insurances, diagnostic tests, all of that jazz. Nothing therapeutic really happened at all. Had a lot of panic attacks. Did not think I was going to have these panic attacks. And when I say panic attacks, I mean rolling panic attacks. Not fun. No, quite literally like the worst experience I think I've felt since. They've happened a little bit this year on and off, but for the most part, I haven't really had to deal with them, and especially none this severe, since 2018. So that was unexpected, not that panic attacks are expected ever. But those lasted pretty much every single day within the program. You know, they got better a little bit, but for the most part, I was panicking. And quite literally, it's not like, oh, we were talking about hard subjects. It's not like I didn't want to do the program because I didn't want to eat. It's not that it was challenging. Yes, it was challenging. Yes, eating in the program was challenging. All of that. But I agreed to do that. What I did not agree to was like feeling quite literally as though someone was chasing me around with a knife and that like I was gonna die. Because even though I knew I was okay, you can't tell, the body does what the body wants to do. It's like, fuck it. So my body felt like, what's going on? That was day one. And day two, day three, day four technically, because like it lasted the entire duration of the program. So that was a Friday. The second day I was doing the program, I actually missed it on accident. Being bipolar and having insomnia issues, sleep is a rough time for me. So I was coming into the program or coming off of a week of not really sleeping. So of course when I slept Friday night, I set my alarm. Really did not want to, but I had every intention of going into the program on Saturday morning. I overslept. And I woke up at like 4 p.m. and I was like, fuck. So, but within that Monday and Tuesday is when I sort of got to experience a little bit more of the group therapies, a little bit more of the therapeutic aspects of things after the housekeeping, diagnostic, intake, all of that BS. After all of that was done, I got to actually experience what the program was meant to help me for. It's interesting though, as relates to the food aspect of things, you know, I have my inhibitions and I had them and I have them around eating and eating a lot. They did require me to eat a lot, I would say. Yeah, I had like my own dietitian, had my own like dietary plan. It showed me a lot of things. It showed me, number one, how to eat better and what I should be eating and all the different food groups and all that. It also showed me that while I've been thinking that I've been eating a lot more, I actually had not been eating a lot more. Either the treatment plan was asking me to eat more than a normal person eats, or I had just gotten so not used to eating how a normal person eats that it seemed like a lot to me. Yeah, there was a lot of anxiety around that. But the funny thing is that Friday was the first and only day that I had trouble finishing my foods. I had anxiety around that. But then I found out within this program, if you don't finish your meals because you still need certain nutritional values or because you still need the nutritional value that you would be getting from that food, if you didn't finish, they made you drink this supplement drink, which essentially is not chocolate milk, but it's flavored like chocolate milk and the consistency tastes like milk. It's essentially chocolate milk. I hate milk. I hate milk. And it wasn't like some little tiny glass. Like if you, well, it was dependent on how much you did and didn't finish. One of the meals, I didn't finish like almost the entire meal. So they gave me this big ass glass of chocolate milk. Had to drink that and then was like, fuck this. Say less. Like I'm gonna eat every single thing after this. And I ate every single meal, every single snack after that. Felt like shit, and it probably contributed a lot to my anxiety, but I was not drinking the milk. I could not do that. Just tell me what I need to eat and I'll do it. So you're probably wondering like, okay, did you discharge yourself? What happened? Like why did you leave? Why didn't you go back? Like what's going on? So I did not discharge myself. It was not because I didn't want to go to the program. I mean, I didn't want to go to the program, but I was sticking it out like I said I would. I was actually discharged by insurance. So I got sick on that Tuesday. So like after my fourth day or whatever, fifth day, whatever it was, shortly after starting, I got really, really, really sick. And it's program policy that you can't come in unless you have a COVID test / get checked up by a doctor to make sure that you're actually okay with being in the program. Did not have COVID, but you know, I was still sick and still kind of in these like weird pains or having these weird pains. Have no idea what it was. The doctors couldn't figure out what it was. And honestly, a lot of it could have been either introducing food back into my system. It could have been quite literally anxiety or the panic having built up from those days or having put my body through extreme duress, essentially. It could have been from that. I don't know what it is. But I was not a happy camper and I was not doing great. And if you don't attend the program for 3 days straight, insurance discharges you themselves. Insurance sees it as, this person's not going, we're paying for this daily. If you're not taking it seriously, they don't give a freak why you're not going in. They're gonna discharge you. Now you're probably wondering like, okay, when you got better, why didn't you go back? Okay, now that's purely because I just didn't want to. Not because I hated it. I mean, okay, I did hate it, but like, that's not why I did not want to go back. While I am diagnosed with a restrictive eating disorder, and I am battling that every single day, a lot of it is tied to the trauma aspect of things. And I'm not saying that this program wouldn't have helped me. I'm just saying that the program was very, very much focused on food, which I didn't necessarily have a problem with once they told me I had to drink that supplement. Like I ate all the food. I ate all the food that they wanted me to. I felt bad afterwards, yes, felt bad, had ruminations, all of that, but I still ate the food. A lot of the times I'm not eating, it's because I've either suppressed my appetite, not saying that's a good thing, that's a bad thing, not even gonna tell y'all how I'm doing it, not trying to give anybody any ideas, and forcing myself not to eat when I'm hungry. I can't do that. My restriction has to come from either me suppressing my appetite or me just being in a manic state or like a psychosis state where I'm not eating, which was primarily the case this past year. It's only now that I'm being rehabilitated and, for example, being more stable mood-wise that I'm no longer feeling those symptoms and I'm eating more. I just don't want to be, which therefore causes me to go into the inducing or suppressing appetite piece. So I literally just gave y'all 1,000 reasons as to why I should be in the program for eating. But the reason why I've isolated that I shouldn't be is because of the trauma piece. When I was having these rolling panic attacks, while everyone there was super caring, super helpful, everyone there was super knowledgeable, like it's nothing against the program and the support they could provide. It was great, but at the same time, they didn't necessarily know how to handle, or they weren't trained and certified within like trauma or complex trauma patients, or to help. They weren't able to help me when I was going through like traumatic ass experiences. They weren't able to help me with my trauma symptoms because the only thing that they said to me when I told them I'm about to freak the fuck out, scream, I don't know what's happening, I'm about to just like, it felt like at times I was gonna run out the door or like run out the window or just like literally start screaming. That's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to start screaming, even if it was really quiet. Everyone's just doing their thing or someone's talking. My mind was not present, and I wanted to just freak the fuck out. I didn't do that because it was clear to me that people there, or the doctors or counselors rather there were no doctors. The licensed counselors that were there did not know how to deal with people in my situation, and I wasn't trying to be hospitalized against my will. So I sat there shaking, trying to calm myself down doing this, crying like weirdly, like very quietly, but like you could see I was crying because tears were coming down my eyes. It was a hot mess. Well, the reason why I believed they didn't know how to deal with people like me is because when I was having all of these symptoms, they said, if you need to take a break, or if you need to take some fresh air, if you need to take some time to collect yourself, you can just walk down to one of the breakout rooms or just take a walk in the hallway, because I couldn't leave the facility, but like take a walk essentially. And I'm like, bitch, really? Because it was like, bitch, what the fuck? No, I can't just walk out and take a walk or go into the breakout rooms. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to be doing that every single 15 minutes. I'm not going to be in group therapy because I'm going to be taking walks, because I'm literally over here panicking every 15 minutes for the last few hours. Like this, that's not, like, don't say that, because everything is triggering me. I'm freaking the fuck out. This all sucks. I need help me, because that's not helping me. And if you don't help me, then I'm going to like flip a shit. And if you're not helping me, then just stay quiet and let me process and do whatever the fuck I need to do in silence by myself. Because one more word out of y'all, I'm going to flip the fuck out. That's how I was feeling, but times 100. And I didn't say any of these things because quite literally, if I had started to talk, started to open my mouth, I felt as though there was going to be like runaway emotion, and who knows what that would look like. When I talk about the symptoms I was experiencing, it wasn't just like panic attacks, it was like flashbacks, like traumatic ass shit that just kind of came up. Think about, if I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with this TV show That's So Raven, or the old TV show. I think they actually, never mind, doesn't matter. The TV show That's So Raven, when she would have visions and all of a sudden it would go like, whoo, like a zoom in her face, in her eye or whatever. It felt like that, except without like all the special effects, but like the intensity of the emotion just coming into me. That's what it felt like. So imagine you're just minding your own business, just sitting there, and then all of a sudden you remember some traumatic ass shit that you forgot happened, had no idea happened. You're just like, oh yeah, I do remember that. Oh, that sucks. Oh God, all the emotion, and it just comes to you. That was happening like every hour, which is why I was having panic attacks, which is why I was freaking out. So a lot of my counselors and doctors and everybody around me who knows about this eating disorder of mine, about my body dysmorphia, all of that, have talked about the need for control, or the fact that I exhibit these symptoms or exhibit these disorders because I feel the need to control the environment around me. I'm starting to understand a little bit of what they mean by that, a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, no, the fuck, I don't eat because I think I'm fat. I'm not trying to control anything. Or at least that was my initial response. Now I'm starting to see what they mean by it, because I've noticed that in the times that I restrict my eating is primarily because it's primarily in response to the idea that I think that people are leaving me, or that like I'm being left, or that I'm being abandoned. As somebody with developmental trauma or abandonment anxiety, abandonment issues, attachment issues, whatever you want to call it, as somebody who really struggles with attachment, in my mind, I know that I can't control people leaving me at the end of the day. I know that people come and go out of our lives. Some people will stay, some people won't. But at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't want to be in my life anymore, I can't control that. And when I feel as though people are slipping, so back in the winter, my romantic relationship, my best friend, my grandmother passed away. Those other people didn't pass away, they just left. Sort of experiencing that and then going into a period of restriction, I believe it's my way of controlling something that other people perceive of me, or how do I say this better? It's my belief that people are leaving me subconsciously or consciously. Obviously my grandmother passing away is not like she wasn't leaving me on purpose, but it's my perception that people will abandon me based on the things that I do. So if I can be a perfect human being, if I can be better in any type of way, then that will prevent people from leaving. So I guess I controlled my eating in the sense that, or at least in those times, I was restricting because if I can be quote unquote the perfect human, which means looking my best, not looking overweight, that would mean that people who did leave would come back because they would see that I'm somewhat attractive now. Or the people who are still in my life won't leave me because I'm attractive and there's a reason to hold on to this relationship. Super, super weird to say out loud because I know logically that is not true. Actually, no, I don't. I'm literally sitting here right now thinking like, these words coming out your mouth, do you like actually believe them? And it's like, no, I actually do believe this, but why do I believe this? This sounds so silly. But at the same time, the voice in the back of my mind's like, nope, you're right, you're on point, like this is 100% true. They will leave you if you look ugly and fat. Clearly, I have problems. So I've been able to track this pattern a few times now. Back in June, I was having a lot of friendship issues. My friendships, specifically one friendship, was significantly strained. We were going through problems, and we went through this period of not talking, essentially. And it wasn't like a I'm never gonna see you again type of thing. It was more so like we just needed space from each other. And that, coupled with the fact that I was going into this partial program where I was gone majority of the day, 6 days out of the 7 days out of the week, that plus the friendship problems was a huge trigger for me, in the sense that I was being pulled out of my environment, no phone, no communication. And I just felt as though, like, while I was being in this program, I was missing out on, it was like extreme FOMO. I felt as though not only was I missing out on things, I felt as though my friends would forget about me. I felt as though my friends would meet new people who were more interesting than me. I essentially felt like I was going to be abandoned. And that was substantiated by the fact that my friends were carrying on with their lives without me. Obviously, I'm not asking them to stay at home while I'm in this program and do nothing with their lives and just wait for me to get back. That wasn't what I was asking. That wasn't my expectation. But it's still, like, the feelings I was having were still there. They were still very much intense. Number one, the reason why I started restricting again, and it's number two is the reason why I was freaking the fuck out in the program, and why I need a therapist or a set of counselors, a team that can help me not only deal with the trauma and work through those patterns and those behaviors, but also like introduce me to the trauma. So therapists who are specializing in trauma are beneficial because while the program I was in told me to go take a walk during my panic attacks, a trauma therapist or someone who specializes in trauma can ease me into these feelings, or knows what to do to intervene during a flashback. They essentially know how to handle all of those intense emotions and intense feelings. Quite literally, because I had forgotten all of the things I was remembering, it was a shock to me. It put my body into a state of panic. And I need somebody who can kind of help me through that, and help me through that in a way where I feel safe, feel like, you know, I'm not about to die or about to be murdered. I needed more support around the trauma aspect rather than the food aspect. And I think that my restrictive eating is more of a after it's a symptom of the initial trauma. And that's why I haven't gone back. And that's just sort of what I've like realized about this whole eating disorder thing. And I'm excited because, I don't know, I'm realizing more about myself. I can't say this is a pattern that always happens, but for the most part, with the significant interruptions in my eating, or the significant restrictions in my eating, this is what I've been able to isolate. Given that it's like September, how have we been doing? You know, I think that the summer since June, because even though I was only there for a few days, the information I got around eating, the dietary plan, or like the treatment plan I got, all of that was extremely helpful for me to take that and implement it within my current treatment plan, which is just psychiatry and behavioral therapy. That had been working pretty freaking well up until about 2 weeks ago, which is why I'm making this video, because I'm like, oh yeah, I have an eating disorder that didn't go away because you didn't actually do anything to fix it. I don't really know why it's coming up now. I think it could be a host of different things. I have been gaining weight, or I was gaining weight, which is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. I had been eating more, but the most important thing about my progress was that I wasn't thinking about food all the time. I wasn't thinking about restricting all the time. I wasn't looking in the mirror. I wasn't concerned about my image in that way. It wasn't until I started to go to the doctors more and then just hear about my like weight being commented on. No one said I was like overweight or bigger or anything, but they said I looked healthier. I don't know how to explain it, but one day I just kind of woke up and I was like, huh, if I keep on living this way, I'm gonna end up being exactly how I was. I've worked really hard not to be overweight, and I feel full all the time. This is gross. I don't want to do this. And like, why did I tell anybody about these things? Because they won't give me like, which is why I'm always hungry and I'm always thinking about food. It was just this explosion of detrimental feelings I had towards myself, where I felt gross, ugly. I felt like gross in the sense, not just overweight, but I felt like disgusted by myself. I didn't want to go out to do anything with anybody because I felt as though people would see me and be disgusted by me. It was like this really low point where I had to find the perfect outfit. I couldn't stop changing my clothes, like quite literally had like 6, 7, 8 different outfits on and had to change it because I felt as though I didn't look good in one. I was looking like the clothes were too tight. All the clothes fit me the same. It was just, and I could not stop changing. It was like a compulsion almost, to the point where I even like stopped and I was just like, why can't I stop changing? Freaked the fuck out over that. And now we're here in terms of just, I'm struggling each day with it. I'm still eating what I'm supposed to be eating, sort of ish. It's like I have bad days and I have good days. But for the most part, none of it has even come close to looking like it did last year, which makes me sad on the inside. Like my body just kind of got sad when I said that. Last year being that I would go days restricting, or like I would go at least one day without eating a week. But you know, I don't have those periods. I eat something every single day. Most times I eat multiple meals a day. I feel bad about it afterwards, but I'm eating because I'm hungry and I have no other way to get around that because my bipolar is stabilizing and I don't have access to anything that's going to suppress my appetite. So it's definitely now time to find a trauma therapist before the restrictive symptoms get worse and we lose any progress that we had made. So basically my treatment for this is in flux, but in a dangerous flux in the sense that we don't want to revert. But I'm aware of that, so hopefully, you know, that means something. Alright y'all, hope that you found this video informative or that you could simply take anything away from it. If you did, remember to like the video, and always remember you can comment. I love to hear from y'all. It's like the highlight of my day. I've been struggling with getting back to comments. In an appropriate amount of time just because my life has been hectic. I will get back to y'all, I promise. Last but not least, remember to subscribe for new videos every weekish, kind of, right? Subscribe for new videos and turn on those subscription notifications to figure out when I exactly will be uploading or when I have exactly uploaded a new video. All right, y'all, stay fresh. Stay fresh, the fuck? I don't really know, y'all. Be good. That sounds weird too, the fuck? Whatever, y'all. Peace.